Hey everybody, welcome back to Jordan Lee Tarot. So, two decks for today. I have the True Love Oracle deck and I have the Fountain Tarot. I love showing people this deck. Well, I should say this guidebook. My friend's husky chewed it. It was about 10 years ago, and I can't believe it's already been 10 years. So, I keep this as a reminder that 10 years has gone by. And I just love the chaoticness of what this is. And it just represents to me what tarot has brought me through for the last 10 years as I read for myself. And more recently, started reading on this channel, started doing more tarot events. It's just a little benchmark for me, excuse me, that I enjoy having the visual reminder of. So I'm going to start to pull some cards right away. Excuse me. Not sure why this reading has been very difficult to get through. I had a lot of issues, some lighting things, some equipment things. My phone battery dropped down to 12% all of a sudden from 40. So I'm just out here thinking that this message must be something really important, and I'm excited to deliver it because I have no idea why this has been so hard. Okay. So I have to admit that your energy as a reader really does affect how you read. And so I always make sure that I do a little energetic cleanse, that I'm ready, but I can't tell you how many times that when I'm in a bad mood for a personal reason, right? Or I'm just frustrated, it comes through in the reading and I have to stop, start, and I walk away from the reading and I come back to it. And it makes the world of a difference. And so that, I believe, is the difference between like a pure channeling is when you make sure that your energy is so good and so pure that you're only bringing forward messages from a higher source as opposed to bringing your own things along for the ride. So it's very important to me to make sure that everything is clear before I begin. So on that note, we start out with the luminosity card. This is just a beautiful energy of the divine feminine energy. We follow that up with the soulmates card, and then we have the emotional freedom. So I'm not sure if this is a general reading or if this is going to get a little bit more specific, but I will show you the tarot and we will kind of decide together where this goes. The Ace of Cups as a start is pretty amazing. The Sun card as a follow-up is also pretty amazing. The Temperance card, and then the Six of Coins card. What I'm getting, excuse me, I tell you what, this message is coming through one way or another. I swear to goodness. This message is of a high vibrational divine union. Okay? And I talk about these a lot, and you're not going to find me diving a lot into the specifics, which I think people really want. But every time I try to do that, Spirit guides me away from that. And I think that there's a reason, because the more we get caught up in the specifics, or what someone that I learned from calls it brain candy, the more you get wrapped up in those specific details, it muddies the water of manifesting the purest, highest version of what you really want. With that being said, this is a manifestation of a divine union that is balanced. The Temperance card always speaks of balance. Excuse me. And the Six of Coins is that reciprocity that you really truly want in a union. The emotional freedom speaks to being able to be yourself around this person. A true soulmate connection is always preferable, which I'm getting divine highest soulmate. And this luminosity card is, that beginning stage of the of attraction, where the feminine energy is luminous. It could be the masculine energy as well. There's different versions of what luminous could look like for either energy, but this feels like two people coming together. I mean, these are little fairy naked people for the butterflies. And I feel like it is you go halfway, I go halfway to meet. Obviously, in everyday life, this looks different. 50-50 looks more like 60-40, 70-30. But The general energy is 50-50 of this divine union that's coming together. And maybe it's also saying don't settle for anything less than being met with the same enthusiasm, right? Like that hell yeah meets that hell yeah, right? Not the, oh yeah, this seems nice, meeting the hell yeah. That's not the same energy. And there will always be discord there if the energies don't initially come together in that energy and then stay there by building that relationship. So, the temperance card also kind of speaks of that longevity of like continued effort, like not just balance to begin with, but continued balance that might require effort on your part because life is life, right? Things are going to happen, get in the way. Whoops. The lovers card popping in there to say hello. I'm going to take this underneath, is the 8 of coins, because I was just talking about like that everyday work that goes into a relationship that is really divine and sacred. That little bit of effort to put your hand on their shoulder or rub their back as you walk by them or something like that. Things that really make the other person go, ooh, I'm loved. And that could be masculine or feminine energy doing those kinds of things. Okay, so the Hierophant card coming out, this does speak of a very traditional situation, something that is built on these very traditional principles. And maybe you love that, maybe you don't, but I think that this is a good foundation card. And again, traditions don't even have to be traditional. They can be weird, quirky traditions that you guys create. But this feels like the best of what people could want, right? This sounds like the ideal. And I want to get into if this is just speaking of what that ideal could look like for you, or if there is another message that wants to come through. Okay. So when I was doing one of my other readings that got interrupted, the dog was barking, there was chaos, right? This card came out in a previous reading. And the main message with this card, this buffalo calf woman in this story, she basically spared the life of the fighter who was coming up against her, who respected her, but still was like pointing the bow and arrow at her to protect himself, versus the other person there that like thought that she could easily be taken down. And basically she annihilated the gentleman who, thought that he could easily take her down. But she respected and bowed to the other warrior who at least gave her enough respect to just do what he needed to protect himself. And so this card is a divine message of reverence for the divine feminine and the understanding that she can be downright dangerous when she is thought of as trivial. If you minimize her impact, she will fuck you up. It's that simple. Okay? So I want to pull another card here, but this feels like divine respect for the feminine. And this can be anybody. I mean, as a woman, I respect other women, and just I'm amazed at how strong we are. The fact that we birth life for the entire planet, right? Every human being that is born comes out of a woman, unless you want to get conspiracy theory-esque, but I don't want to do that right now. A baby made from two humans, right? That's grown in the traditional way. They come out of women, and this beautiful portal of power, energy, but also love coming through. Like the fact that people don't revere that in today's world blows my mind. It's been trivialized and just like expected that like women make babies and the whole magicalness of it goes away. I don't understand that. I'm like, holy shit, women are amazing, right? And I am a woman. And the fact that, we've begun to trivialize the feminine, that's where a lot of our wounding comes in as a whole entire society. So find yourself a man who understands, or a masculine energy. I am probably speaking mostly to a feminine collective, but I could be wrong. Get yourself a divine masculine energy. Or if you're the man watching, get yourself into the divine masculine energy. Again, take the energy as it resonates. I understand that there's a myriad of people watching, but this energy is sexy. And that divine masculine really appreciates his divine feminine and knows that she is to be revered. So this speaks of healthy love, the best that can be made. And I think it's a message of, my nose is itching. This happened in another reading as well, where my nose would not stop itching. So I'm sorry, but there's a message in there. I didn't look up what this means, but I think it's a deep confirmation of what I'm saying. So if anyone wants to look that up or comment with details about that, I don't normally have that happen to me. Let's talk about the divine masculine compatibility. So this luminosity card, I sometimes take to mean the energetic understanding of what it takes to be the divine feminine. So in my opinion, this is a divine feminine card coming out with a divine masculine card. Together, they are compatible because their energetic resonance matches, not in that it is the same, but that it is the best of what you can do with that masculine energy and the best of what you can do with that feminine energy. And when those two energies meet, there's just a deep compatibility. And I get excited to see what that will create in the world. Because again, at heart, I'm a creator, I'm a visual artist. What happens when you get powerhouse couples? Women and men that really understand the assignment and come together, or women and women that come together and understand the assignment, men and men that come together that understand the assignment. It is powerful, powerful. And we don't talk enough about the highest potential of where we could go and what we could do and what we could be. Because guess what? When we reach that in what we know in our limited mind and capacity now, the bar is going to raise even more. So think about, when people say, oh, humans are getting dumber and things like that due to technology and distraction rates and things like that. I totally understand that. And so to reverse that, bring ourselves back to that 0 point, which a lot of people don't understand that you can actually do that. We are not doomed, but we have to rewire our brain. And it's very, very possible to do. And it doesn't even have to take a long time, but there are specific things to be done. So that's a whole other conversation. But my point is, once we come back into critical thinking, we can kind of really start to tip the scales into being better humans, being better partners, being better parents, being better community members. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all, because I think we have kind of dropped what we find acceptable. And there's a deep wound in society because people really aren't stepping up. And I think there's a hopelessness around that. So I bring messages like this to the collective to let you guys see the highest version, the highest potential. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting something better. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do better for yourself. Obviously, a lot of self-love and softness as you grow and ascend to become better. But spirit will work with you, right? Your guides are always available. If you say, I want to do better, I want to be better in excuse me, in my field of work. Lead me to, mentors that are going to help me. Great. That'll happen. Put yourself in divine alignment and you're going to find yourself with a mentor sooner than you could ever imagine. I want to be a better partner. You're going to have opportunities to learn and grow into being a better partner sooner than you can imagine. And to see and understand that highest version of what is possible, that heaven on earth that we can create for ourselves, whatever that looks like for you, divine family unit, divine partnership, travel with pets, with little humans, with both, with none. The point is, we're coming into a deep understanding of what's possible in the highest version of timelines for ourselves, because we're learning and growing at a big rate, but we haven't brought our emotional intelligence up there. We have the actual intelligence, but the wisdom hasn't reached it. I think we're coming to a point where we're understanding these kinds of principles more and more. That divine feminine aspect is way more powerful and potent than we can ever imagine. And that could be within a masculine energy as well. So again, don't click off if you're a masculine energy. These messages really do cover the gamut. But that Lover's card and the Eight of Coins just feels like a constant working on your partnership in the best way possible. Not like, oh, we're always in couples therapy or whatever, but you're always learning how to like be a better partner so that your partner can be a better partner as well and be inspired. And again, it doesn't work if both parties aren't trying. Um, but it's going to look different on each side of things each day. So, okay, hold on one second. I'm going to pull another card from the tarot. Whoop. Do 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 do. Boom. Queen of Wands, the Star, the Five of Coins, the Seven of Coins. So, I think as our closing message, I want to talk about the understanding of the principle of attracting in what is best for you will only happen with divine alignment with source. I've said this before. If you're trying to manifest a Lamborghini and really what you need is a minivan because you're about to be a parent, I think it's going to be very hard for you to actually manifest that Lamborghini because it's not what you need. And granted, there are people that manifest, things that they don't need as part of their lessons. But I have found that when I try to manifest something specific that I think is for my divine and highest good, it just doesn't manifest that way. And other things pop up and I end up getting what I need, but it's not exactly what I pictured. So understand that mental version versus what shows up in the world is different. I have explained this before, but this energy here, this is, it feels okay. Some people act like, oh, to be, the best version of myself, right? I have to like mask and be someone I'm not. No, the point is to come to that highest timeline, you actually have to fully embody that highest version of yourself that is sexy, that is aligned, that is centered. I can't tell you how many times in previous iterations of my life, when I went out into the world and then I came home from interacting with people, I was tired, very specifically tired because I was masking who I was. And I started changing that. And I started actually aligning with clients that were honestly more casual, like I am. I'm a casual person. I'm very earthy. I don't like glam things. I like cozy things. That's just, if we're talking about this versus that, that's my energy. By aligning with that, I found clients that were actually more aligned, more casual like me. Not that they pay less, but they just have a different vibe. They're different people that I'm aligned with. Then I started coming home and I was just as invigorated as when I left because I wasn't masking. I wasn't changing who I was for different people. Even when I do headshots for people that are more traditionally, headshots, I find myself with people, I'm a professional photographer. So I find myself with people that are like really goofy and silly during all of this. I recently photographed for a lawyer's office and it was just a really fun experience where I aligned with the silliness of these people that are doing very serious jobs. They take their jobs very seriously. They're very good at what they do, but the experience of photographing them was it was fun. It was silly. They're a fun bunch of people. So that's what I'm talking about. I didn't have to mask who I was. I didn't have to mask and be very stodgy and very serious. I could be exactly who I am, very casual, very fun, but also professional and get things done. And everyone had a great time. This is the alignment of coming into that highest timeline to who you are, and so that they can be who they are, right, as your co-partner. And then it's a beautiful grounded connection that's very real. This isn't pie in the sky nonsense. This is fucking real. So the Five of Coins and the Seven of Coins, I think, speaks to, this is not growth mindset. This is pity me, or pity myself mindset. Oh, woe is me. And this is, what am I going to do about that? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to grow. I'm going to become that higher version of myself. And I think that this mindset is something that traps a lot of people, and they stay here for a long time and miss out on many wonderful opportunities and many wonderful possible partners because they are not able or willing to step into the Seven of Coins. So there is some mental mind stuff involved in that coming to the higher timeline. But I think that we are talking to a collective who is happy to do the work, who is maybe struggled through doing the work, but they are, working through it, and they are 95 to 99% like healed and really truly ready to step into divine partnership. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So we're going to pull one more card just for fun. And then we're going to end this message. Okay. Inner peace and yin and yang. This is definitely that healing of divine masculine and feminine within each person. And this is the inner peace that brings. This is a balanced individual. This is someone who is really at home in who they are. And when you start to come into that energy, you're going to find that you don't have to mask out in the world. Or you're going to find yourself drawn to new people that you don't have to mask with. But this energy is such a beautiful integration. And you find that who you are at home alone in your pajamas is the same version, pretty much the same version that's out in the world. And that's a beautiful place to be. Minus acting maybe professional versus more casual at home, right? There are nuances to this message. But I think that, this message here on this card is I am enough, I am enough, I am enough. She's writing that in her journal, and it's also at the top there. This is a deep understanding that you are enough, and that divine higher timeline is something that's accessible and you're worthy of it. And you're going to find yourself that partner that's willing to work on and through things with you. So one last thing to just cover this message so that people understand: you don't have to be 95 to 99% healed to start a partnership with someone. You can come into partnership. There might be some bumps in the beginning, probably with any relationship, but I truly feel like the collective that's listening to this, you're going to find those people who want to work on the partnership with you. They're not just going to be like, oh, the lover's card, oh, this is all going to work out and be perfect and lovely. Sometimes it's going to require a sacrifice that's not glamorous or fun to get you where you want to go, but it will lead to this. And again, this could be external partnership of divine masculine and feminine, action and receptivity coming together, whether within one person or two. But again, I think this is speaking to physical separate partnership. So always happy to do a love reading. For those of you that want, more specific love readings, I can do privates, and then I can tap into your energy specifically, which is probably the best way to do it. Because as a watcher of tarot for many years, I found it very frustrating to try to find my specific situation in general readings. It kind of drives me bananas, and I start to get intuition fatigue trying to figure out which one is mine and trying to really understand it. Even if I intuitively tap in and say, oh, this is the pile for me, or this is the reading for me, it can really tire me out. If the details don't fit, or if the energy is kind of wild that day, there's so many energies swirling around on YouTube that understand it can be daunting. So if you find yourself in a place like that, whether it's with myself or someone else, find yourself a reader and do a private reading that might help tap you into your specific situation, as opposed to gaslighting yourself into, a general reading and making things fit that don't, getting yourself upset, or overly puffing up things that, maybe aren't true. These are always cautions that I like to offer with tarot as well, because I'm just really honest, and I love everybody and don't want to see people in limerence. I want to see people in beautiful, physically grounded partnership that helps uplift the planet. So I hope this message had value for you. Until next time, have a beautiful day or night.